Welcome to episode 114 of Pink's Picks Book Recs, commentary from a retired high school English teacher. Have you ever received a single, seemingly ordinary phone call that changed your life? Today's titles, Memoirs, written by Tony Award-winning actress Kelly Bishop and Pulitzer Prize-winning author Geraldine Brooks, begin with the call that completely altered the trajectories of their lives. For Bishop, that communication heralded triumph. For Brooks, it declared tragedy. In the Third Gilmore Girl, Bishop presents an unapologetic account of her more than half a century in show business, whereas in Memorial Days, Brooks explores with incredulity, indignation, insight, and even humor the announcement and aftermath of her husband's very unexpected and untimely death. Girls begins with a 1974 phone call, a rudimentary cast call, which led to the rough conceptualization of a stage show based on dancers' experiences and their audition process. These interviews ultimately evolved into a chorus line, the show that saved Broadway and the role for which Bishop won a Tony. From there, Bishop reflects upon her childhood in Colorado Springs, living with her older brother, loving mother, and philandering, alcoholic, violent father. Because the family could not afford classes, Mrs. Bishop played the piano at a dance studio in exchange for Kelly's lessons. This early instruction set the foundation for a lifelong love of dance and a decades-long career on stage. That began at Radio City Music Hall, not as a rockette, but as part of their corps de ballet. From that job forward, Bishop rarely struggled to find work, whether as a Las Vegas showgirl or as a dancer on Broadway or in smaller venues. Her Tony was her ticket to TV and film roles, most notably playing Jennifer Grey's mother in Dirty Dancing, a job she loved. This book gave greater meaning to Bishop's last line in the movie. When Baby and Johnny are dancing, her mother says to her father, "I think she gets it from me." Ironically, Bishop herself could have performed any choreography in the show, except perhaps Swayze's famous lift. Bishop's titular TV role was playing the moneyed matriarch in Gilmore Girls and on a Netflix limited series anniversary special. Though no less compelling, counter to Brooks's narrative, Bishop's story is co-written. Brooks, of course, has had a long, illustrious career as a writer. First as a journalist, eventually transitioning at the behest of her husband to full-length fiction and nonfiction. Days begins on Memorial Day in 2019 when Brooks received the shocking phone call that her beloved husband, fellow author Tony Horwitz, who was on a book tour, had collapsed crossing a Washington, D.C. street, had been brought to the hospital, and couldn't be revived. From this scene, Brooks rotates chapters between 2019 and 2023 when she traveled to an island off the coast of Tasmania to begin her own Memorial Days with the time and space to finally grieve as well as glimpse the person she might have become had she never left her life down under nor met Tony in grad school at Columbia. In the 2019 chapters, Brooks addresses everything from the initial disbelief at the devastated news, to the challenging logistics of booking emergency travel on a holiday, to the heartbreak of her oldest son's learning from the internet about his father's death. He was on an international flight, so her calls weren't getting through. To her discovery regarding the brutal, broken system of how death is often handled in the U.S. by healthcare workers, coroners, insurance companies, courts, financial institutions, and our culture that is averse to sad. In the 2023 chapters, in addition to discussing her history with Tony and their symbiotic careers, she contrasts healthy death rituals and traditions in some cultures with her childhood household where she was strenuously encouraged to save her tears. As a result of the latter, she felt guilty grieving to the degree that in response to the deaths of 60,000 souls in an earthquake in the Middle East, she asks herself, how can I mourn my one loss amid such an abundance of death? At just 239 and 201 pages, both books are quick reads. Girls is nicely written, Days is beautifully written. I loved them both. I give The Third Gilmore Girl and Memorial Days A's. Until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and do your homework. Bye-bye.